And you mentioned, for example, belly dance and tribal dance. They are, I find that interesting because they are both dance forms that allow you to improvise and teach a lot of technique and structure. And hopefully the aim, and I think it's always the aim if you've got a sort of a wise system, is to develop both of those paths so that they support and enhance one another rather than one or the other and one takes from the other. Because the structure gives you an increased vocabulary, body confidence, a whole new, it opens a world of possibilities that may not have been there before you learn the structure. I found that learning salsa, I got very excited about salsa. And then at a certain point, it's like, off you go. Never mind what you've learned. It's inside you, and now see where it takes you. And that's thoroughly liberating.
Yes, that muscle memory that then allows you, and I suppose that's the container as well, that can create a container to then be free in your movement based on what your body is already holding.
Yeah, yeah. Like a conversation, because we're using words. We know the words have a certain rigidity and they don't always quite reach what we're trying to express. But without the words, we wouldn't really know where to start. We could grunt and make gestures. So we have a structure and we try and use it to transcend the structure. And I kind of like that. To me, that is a dance.
Yes. And I think what you said, the integration aspect is important. I think we need to embrace masculine and feminine, or yin yang, and bring them together, structure and chaos, and bring them together, because either one of them being dominant is just being out of balance. So I think
Yes.
hopefully we're coming to that realization that it shouldn't be one way or the other, but that it needs to be both.
Very, very much agree, which is why I like the fact that you focus on the what could be called feminine energy or feminine wisdom, because it's much more to do with a holistic view, which incorporates feelings and intuitions and doesn't rely on a kind of preset plan. Follow the plan, which is rather limiting and deadening.
My philosophy is have a plan, but be willing to change. That it's
Absolutely.
good to have a structure, and then we can be dynamic within that structure. So, yes, I think we need both.
I went through a whole reminder of that. Writing the book that I mentioned is called Dance Wise, because I started off with a plan. I got very bogged down, and I just tried with my willpower to power through the bogged down. And in the end, I just had to give up, and I had to literally surrender it to the universe and say, there's something I'm missing here. I'm going to stand out of the way and see what happens. And after a little while, it came back, but in a different form. And it feels, I'm just glad that I let that space happen and didn't just try and keep powering through it. But I guess without the plan and the intention, it also wouldn't have manifested. It needed that too.
Well, and I think that's sort of how you challenge the universe, is to say, I'm going in this direction. And if that's not the right direction, I think the universe, that's that dance of co-creation that I'm talking about. This is where I'm going. And if that's not where I should be going, then the universe can answer me back and say, no, why don't you kind of go in this direction? So to me, that's what that is that it is good to have, it's good, and it's good to be clear about it, to be clear about the direction. And then that's when you get the feedback as to, no, that wasn't a good idea. That's not what we're doing.
This totally matches my experience, Leslie. And I have, as a result of it and thinking about it and talking about it, I've come to like the idea, and you never know if your ideas are sort of spot on or not, but I like the idea that we are part of an evolutionary impulse. We're fed by it, and we're feeding into it in our tiny ways, the little waves and the great ocean. But every wave has a little bit to bring to the total ocean. And when we challenge we challenge what is, it's also we're bringing something in and saying, is this grit going to make a pearl? Let's see what happens to it. You know, I
Sorry.
just wanted to say, and I'm talking to myself really, but not to attach too strongly to my current configuration of things, because it might well need to change. In fact, I'd be disappointed if it didn't change.
But I think that's a hard concept, just the way that we've been educated, which I would call programmed. But anyway, we're taught that we have to know what the outcome is, that we have to have a plan and we have to know what the outcome is. And that's just the way we've been taught. So that's the process. And I think then you have to rise above yourself to say, okay, I'm going to let go of that idea, because it becomes kind of a knee-jerk reaction that if I don't have a plan and a way to get to my destination, then I haven't done my work. And I don't think that's true. I think, yeah, have a plan, but then you're going to see where how you're actually going to do that.
Exactly. That's where what you said before about the balance between male and female, or yin and yang, and it's a dynamic, changing balance, which reminds me of dancing again.
Exactly.
To me, that really serves life, because there is direction, there is intention. It's not just nebulous things that never reach any conclusion. But you're also willing to listen to the feedback, because otherwise things are only what you plan to do, and sometimes a lot more can come out if you make space for it.